I guess I'm going to show you guys my Cintiq, but before I do that, I'll show you my Workspace. Over here, we have the Cintiq, my 360, my main monitor, and my old secondary monitor, which is a really crappy Dell. That's what I play all my videos on and my games and stuff like that. This is my old tablet that I don't really use it often anymore because I have the Cintiq. Up here is this Draw Humans poster, which is nerdy, an old print of my work, more nerdy stuff. Over here, we have a Big Daddy, looks like he's boning the Master Chief, and there's a little dude from Lost Planet, I guess, and there's some probably stagnant water. Like all artist workspaces, it's extremely messy. Alright, let's get started. Alright guys, I guess this video is to sort of show you the new Cintiq I have, as well as sort of what my workflow is. I'm probably going to bumble through it kind of awkwardly, so bear with me. Essentially, the screen is 12 inches diagonally, which I think is about 6.5 tall and 10.5 wide. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you put your hand up against it, you know, it's decent size. It's a lot wider than it is tall, so it's essentially made for widescreen, but that's good, because the 21-inch one, I believe, is completely squared, which is good too, because it's also ginormous. Basically, the screen is a tablet with a screen on it, so wherever you aim the stylus is where it ends up on the screen. So basically, you press here, it paints there. You have to end up calibrating it, which isn't too difficult, but I find myself recalibrating it every now and then, depending on what position I work on the screen in. Normally I have it down on my lap, which is a lot easier, because that way I can rotate it like I would with a sketchbook, which is a lot easier. Having it set up on the actual desktop is a little bit more difficult. It still works for certain things, but basically for the video and having the camera set up, this is the only way I can get it to work properly. Basically, you can do everything you normally would with, say, a mouse, but you can use the stylus with it. The only thing I really use it for is Photoshop work, for doing my digital paintings and stuff, which you can see right here, which is the newest one. For those of you who are on DeviantArt, this is the collaboration piece with Danny, otherwise known as Adonis, on DeviantArt. People ask me occasionally how many layers I end up working with in a piece, and the answer is, depending on how big the piece is, it really varies. This one right now I believe has around 21, but a lot of them are sort of placeholder layers, things that aren't going to end up being in the final piece, or little sketch type things to show you where it might go, such as the visor, the blue visor you see here. That's actually a placeholder right now. It's not painted fully or even complete. See if I can find it. See, I can turn that off and basically get all the detail of everything underneath that. You have the face, the stubble. Turn that back on. You can see there's little holographic images in it. I know this is probably really low res and hard to see, but you also have details, the glow stuff up here, the little LEDs. This one's texture in the back. You probably can't see that one toggle. Got a layer for the face. Obviously it's gone. I tend to work with layers, everything I do. If I try something new, I always put on a new layer. Also, a good tip for you guys, if you guys don't know, to get those bright, like those hot spots in there and these bright glowy areas, the best thing to do is use either a screen layer or a color dodge layer. Color dodge will end up giving you the really hot spots in the middle that make it look like it's really bright, and then the screen layer will end up giving it that sort of glow around it, sort of like an indication of, I don't know, atmosphere or something like that. This piece, I started with some high-res line art, and then I colored within that. I use flat shapes and stuff like that, block in the colors first, and you worry about detail later. Always choose your light source from the beginning though. If you fumble around with your light source, later on it's going to end up fucking you up. I guess I can show you around the piece. On the side of the actual Cintiq, which is $1,000 by the way, for those of you who don't know, which is a lot less than the $2,500 21-inch version. There's basically a slider on this side of it and a slider on this side. Both I believe I have doing the same thing right now, which is zooming in and out of the piece. There's also 4 more buttons on this side and 4 more on this side. This side I have one that had a little hand, so you can drag it around. The other one's undo. One of them's the eyedropper, and then I believe there's 2 more. I think there might be 5 buttons, whatever. And the top one is the toggle between your screens. So if I need to go to my other screen up here, I can just hit that button that I can use as a regular tablet. On the top screen, what I normally do on this one is I worked on a zoomed in version, and then on the front screen up here, what I end up having is a zoomed out version, which shows me the entire image. So if I'm working in real close, you can't always see what the entire full images are going to end up looking like. So with that, you can see what everything is. You can have as many windows as you want of the same piece. You just go up here to Window, and you go to Arrange, and then go New Window for whatever your file name is. Probably hard to see, but whatever. Also on the top screen, I can end up putting any kind of references I need to use, because the screen's a lot bigger. It's a 20.1-inch widescreen ViewSonic. So I can put references next to each other, the other piece, basically anything I need, and just work primarily on this one. Workflow is really easy. As long as your computer is decently fast, you can work really high res. Sometimes if you have too many layers or too many things running at one time, zooming like this on a high res piece ends up getting really choppy. I had to close some applications, I had to close Firefox and some other things to be able to get this to run smoothly. Normally I have iTunes running, Firefox and this, and it works really well until it gets really high res. As you can see, well, probably not actually, there's a lot of detail in all of it. I normally work in full screen mode, so you can drag it around. It has a black outline around everything. You can drag it any which way. If you work in the other modes, you're kind of restricted with how far you can move it. Right now, this is at a 66% zoom, so that gives us 100%. So, and you can zoom out and you can see what the full piece is going to be about the size of. So it gives you an idea of how high the resolution is. It's not insanely high, but it's enough to print at a good size and to be able to display it at any good size without things looking blurry. When I do a piece, I usually end up gathering a lot of references. This one, not so much. I did take a picture of my own face for this guy's face in here, which you may recognize as the Rawl face. And based on Danny's design, I want to do something really cool. Once you see his, you'll understand, because it's pretty sweet. Part of what makes the Cintiq so great is the ability to detail. The Cintiq makes it really easy to. So say I wanted to touch up this eye some. You know, I don't know what I would want to do with it, but, you know, just something, I know, maybe a little bit more of a highlight over here, which just looks terrible now, but you can just put those in there really, really easily with the Cintiq. You know, you can aim, rotate your hand any which way you want to, do that, make it look really awful, like this, and just whatever. It's incredibly simple to get lines exactly where you need them in detail. Things such as hair, it's as simple as doing this. Obviously the line's a bit thick, but you sit here and do this 26 times and you got basically what you need. Something like this that might take you a decent amount of time. I mean, even with the regular tablet, it's not going to take you forever to do this type of stuff with the hair and the other details. But with this, it just makes it so much easier because you just sit here and go like this really, really fast. And you get the exact same effect as you would with, say, a pencil or a paintbrush. I mean, eventually you have to go in there and do little fine details, little highlights and crap like that. But it just works really, really, really well. So basically, my favorite part of doing a piece is detailing it and getting things to look really cool, really realistic, amazing, whatever you want to call it. And using the Cintiq actually lets me get to that point of the painting a hell of a lot quicker than it does with the regular tablet. And I guess that sort of concludes whatever it is I was trying to show you guys. I also want to let you guys know not to get discouraged when you try painting and stuff like that, because it doesn't usually come quickly. It takes a while. You'll start off doing absolute crap. You'll absolutely hate it, but it's really not that bad. Just keep at it. As of right now, I've been digitally painting for probably a year and a half. Skills, once you get to a certain point, will start increasing exponentially. So the more you keep at it, the more you're into it. Just put your free time into drawing and sketching and doing the artwork, and you'll end up surprising yourself. Step away from a piece for like a week if you get fed up with it. You'll come back to it and I guarantee you'll surprise yourself. So I guess that's it. Have fun painting.